Hello everybody, Tornado Soup here. Alright, so DC has released an official image of Brandon Routh as Kingdom Come Superman for the CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths. I didn't have time to write this down in a script because I wanted to get this out there, and that seemed to work well for my Drake video, Tim Drake video for some reason. I don't know why, but I figured I'd do it again with this one because I really want to talk about this image, the suit. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I'm actually more excited for Crisis than I was for Endgame. And obviously, there's not going to be the budget going into Crisis. It's probably not going to be as well written or as well acted, but I don't know. There's just something about it. There's something. And yeah, to a degree, it feels like they're just throwing stuff at a wall and hoping it sticks. Bring back Burt Ward, bring back Tom Welling, just bring back everybody and hope it goes well. It does feel a little like that. But at the same time, it also feels a little bit more like actual fans are putting this together. And obviously, there's a lot of fans behind Endgame, but there's also a lot of studio behind Endgame too. There's a lot of Disney in Endgame, trying to make sure that it's good for, merchandising and everything, and I don't feel it detracts too much from it, but I'm hoping Crisis is gonna have even less of that, because there's really no reason for it to be in there at all. It's not like there's a bunch of Flash Lego sets on shelves at Walmart or anything, so I'm hoping that Crisis can avoid this. And judging by this image of Brandon Routh, it's hard to imagine that things aren't gonna go at least a little well, because this suit looks amazing. There's just so much going into it. I mean, for one, there's the trunks, which I understand people not liking the trunks. It makes sense. They are a little weird. It doesn't. When you think about it logically, why would anybody wear their underpants on the outside? It doesn't make sense. But also, how does a man fly or shoot fire from his eyeballs or lift, planets? None of it really makes sense. And I don't know, I guess the trunks kind of bolster that. And having them back in live action for the first time, I think since 2006 with Superman Returns, it feels big. And not big, but it's like, it's a return to form. It's familiar. It's classic Superman. And, he had the trunks back in Action Comics #1. He's had them since the beginning. And having them there, maybe it doesn't mean that they're going the whole super logical, realistic route that, they went in Supergirl and in Man of Steel. But maybe they're trying to be as reminiscent of the comic as possible, which is great. And I think there's also a bit of a George Reeves quality to him. There's, especially in the image that's official from the site, there's definitely something very classic, very 50s-ish about him. I can't really place it. Maybe it's just the stance, or maybe it's the way he's built. It looks like they did some, photoshopping to make him look, to change his build a little, because, Brandon Routh is, by no stretch of the imagination, in bad shape, but he's not, like, puffy. He's not puffy. And the Superman is kind of puffy. In a good way. But I think that does, amplify the George Reeves-ness of him. And, and I think that helps a lot, too, because there's pretty much stuff from nearly every major DC show, except for The Adventures of Superman. And Wonder Woman, I think, too, because, I don't know, I don't think Linda Carter is officially in it yet, but if they were to make that announcement like a few weeks from now, I wouldn't be shocked, considering she's already been in Supergirl quite a bit. So, like, even if she were playing the same character from Supergirl, it wouldn't surprise me all that much if they got her to come back. But yeah, Adventures of Superman is one of the biggest things to come from DC TV that isn't involved in this show, mostly because there's not a lot of surviving actors, unfortunately. And so the suit, and maybe it wasn't intentional to look like that, but it does remind me of it. That could just be the fact that it's classic Superman-ish. It's very reminiscent of classic Jerry Siegel, Joe Shuster look. It's not armory at all like most modern live-action interpretations of the suit are. Even in Superman Returns, it wasn't like fabric, it was more armor-esque. So the fact that it looks cloth-like, I think also adds to it. The belt, too. It's a black belt with gold circle, gold oval. That feels more George Reeves. And I just like the way they're going with it. And then the S2 is, like, the S kind of almost begins to throw it off. And it's supposed to. Because obviously, yeah, this is classic Superman that we all know and love, but it is also decidedly not classic Superman. This is the kind of Superman that would build a massive prison and keep people in prison there without their fair trial. This is the Superman that's gone through a bunch of stuff. I don't know how closely they're going to follow Kingdom Come with this Superman. Even at 5 hours, there's a lot to cover, so I don't know that they're gonna be able to explain a whole lot of this, a whole lot of that world, but I do get the feeling that, they're still gonna go with the darker Superman route, and the emblem is the most clear, the part that shows that with the most clarity. It's very, it's just angular, and it almost feels like it's trampling over classic Superman. Like there's some remnants of the classic lighthearted Boy Scout Superman, and then the emblem is kind of just the stamp that shows it that this isn't that Superman. And I also like obviously the hair is reminiscent of the Kingdom Come comic as well, but it also kind of reminds me of Earth 2 Superman in the original Crisis on Infinite Earths comic, and he was a huge part in that, and he was also a huge part in Infinite Crisis. He sacrificed himself in both of those, so it really wouldn't surprise me if this Superman also meets an untimely fate. Although there's 3 different Supermen going into this, statistically speaking, at least one of them has to die, right? And honestly, all 3 of them seem reasonable, because there's the parallels between Brandon Routh Superman and Earth 2 Superman, but then there's, the Tom Welling Superman. It would just be, killing him off would be like killing off Iron Man in Endgame. And there's years of history with that character, so if they really want to go for the gut punch, then that's the character they do it with. But then there's Tyler Hoechlin Superman. I think I pronounced his name right. But there's him. It felt like they were setting him up to die so much in Elseworlds. He's getting Lois is getting pregnant. He's getting married to Lois. Like, one of those things in a comic book, movie, or TV show is pretty much means that the character is going to die or something awful is going to happen. Both of those things happening almost concurrently is pretty much a definite, yeah, he's not making it. But with the other 2, I don't know. some Superman is going to die. We know that going in at this point. And then I don't know. I'm trying to. Oh, there's no like clasps on the cape either, which I like. It's just a cape. They've just let it be a cape. There's no. It's not like they tried to make it. I don't know. They could have done, because they could have gone the Injustice route with this Superman costume, and I mean that would have been fine too, I guess, because there are similarities between Injustice Superman and Kingdom Come Superman, but it still does feel more like Kingdom Come Superman wants to go back to the way things were, and Injustice Superman doesn't. And I'm kind of tired of armored looks, honestly. It's good to see something simplistic again. You know, it's not busy. It's just Superman. Honestly, if they were to change the emblem a little bit, this might be the best classic Superman costume ever to be put on screen. And even without the emblem changed, it's hard to put this in front of the Christopher Reeve version now because of the emblem. And it doesn't feel fair to compare them, because they're essentially different characters, really, and very different designs. But all right, I'm rambling now. I'm trying to fill this out. I feel like there's other things I can talk about. Well, Michael Rosenbaum not coming back. He said he was not coming back as Lex Luthor. There's still some part of me that's hoping he comes back as the Flash, because that's who I really wanted him to play. But it's fine. I understand his reasonings for not coming back. I don't know that there's really much to talk about there. Having Clark and Lois from Smallville is probably enough as it is. There's already another Lex Luthor. So, yeah, I think that's it. I'm fairly confident that is it. But if you can think of anything else to say about this costume, or about Crisis as a whole, or the CW verse, whatever, just put it down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I hope everybody has a great day, and goodbye, everybody.